Okay, now we're going to review some things from shapes. First, the perimeter. So a reminder, the perimeter is the distance around a figure. So the distance around a figure. So a rectangle, it's the length of all four sides put together. Same for the square and the parallelogram, it's the length of all four sides put together. And for the triangle, it's the length of all three sides put together. So each one of these has their own formula. For a rectangle, it's 2L plus 2W. Now a square, since all four sides are the same, as long as you know one side, you can just say 4 times S. A triangle, it doesn't matter which one you call A, B, or C. The point is you just add together all three sides. And it's possible some of them will have equal sides. They just put A and B and C because it's possible that all three of them are different. Parallelogram is really the same as a rectangle because its opposite sides are congruent or equal, just like they are in the rectangle. But they just, in our book, do it as 2A plus 2B. But it's really the same process as what we do with the rectangle. So if you need to pause it to copy this down, please feel free to do so. Okay, number one. So first thing you gotta do is recognize what shape is it? Well, this is a square because all four sides are equal. So I just do 4 times 7 and I get 28 inches. And make sure you do put the units in these answers. Okay, number two is a rectangle because it's 4 right angles, opposite sides are congruent, but it's not all congruent. So I would do 2 times 7 plus 2 times 14. Now it does not matter here whether you call this the length and this the width or vice versa. You'll get the same answer either way. So double 7 is 14, double 14 is 28, and added together, that is 42 kilometers. Number 3, that's a triangle, so we just need to add together all three sides. We do 8 plus 10 plus 16. 8 plus 10 is 18. 18 plus 16 is 34 meters. And number 4 is a parallelogram. The function or the process works pretty much identically to the way we do the rectangle. We do 2 times A plus 2 times B. And just like it is with a rectangle, it doesn't really matter which one you call A or B, as long as you double both and add them together. So 2 times 15 is 30, 2 times 8 is 16, so we get a total of 46 inches. And again, what we just found was the distance around each of these shapes. So if you were to walk around this shape, you'd have gone this far from beginning to end. Okay, as we flip over to the back, we're talking about, it's really the perimeter of the circle. It's the distance around the circle, but it's called the circumference because we're dealing with a curved line instead of straight lines. The circumference is the distance around a circle. And there's 2 ways you can write the formula for this. I'd say the more common one you'll see is 2 times pi times r. And r stands for the radius. That's the distance from the center of the circle to the edge. So like what we see in number 5 and 7, those are showing the radius, or the length of the radius. But you can also do circumference equals pi times the diameter. D is diameter, and the diameter is the distance across the circle, or the distance of a line segment that goes across the circle and passes through the center. So number 6 is a diameter that's given to us because it goes all the way across the circle. Now I'd recommend you just choose which equation you want based on what they give you. So in number 5, because they gave us a radius, it makes most sense to me to just use the formula that has the radius. So the circumference is 2 times pi times 6, because 6 is the radius. So we can plug this in the calculator. One second, I'll make it so they show at the same time. There we go. Now your calculator may have a pi button, so that's great, just use that. But 2 times 3.14 times 6 is what I'll use on this calculator. So we get 37.68 centimeters. Now just so you know, another way you can write this, you don't have to, another way you can is you can just leave the pi and just say 2 times 6 is 12 and say 12 pi centimeters. So both of those answers are an acceptable way to write that. So tell you what, since it's the same format, let's jump to number 7 and do the same thing. The circumference would be 2 pi times r. So I get 2 pi times 8. So one way to approach it is do 2 times 3.14 times 8. We get 50.24 meters. Sorry, wrong thing. Meters, there we go. Or you could just say 2 times 8 is 16. It will just leave the pi. So the answer could be 16 pi meters. So again, both of those answers are acceptable forms. You can see they're the same. Just if you do 16 times pi, you get exactly what we got. Okay, the last thing we're going to look at is what to do when we have shapes that are combined together. So you've got to remember the definition of a perimeter. It's the distance around the shape. So we've got to think of this almost like it's a strangely shaped house or building. We're outside it. We can only walk around the outside of it. So we don't care what this dotted line is equal to, because we can't walk along that dotted line because there's a building there. We'll start here, walk all the way around it. So we go through 5.3. We go through 3.1. So we've gone from here to here to here. Then the next section is also 3.1. The next section is 5.3. And we return to the beginning where we started, going 6.4. So we add all of these together. You can add all those together in the calculator, and you'll get 23.2 centimeters. Okay, on number 9, it's a little bit tricky, so try to stay with me. We have a half circle, which is what I'm kind of shading or drawing squiggly lines around it here. That's one piece of our outer edge. Kind of looks like a taco now. So we can find that piece by doing half times pi times the diameter. So I'm using the formula pi times diameter because we were given the diameter, but I'm cutting it in half because we don't have a whole circle, we should have a semicircle. So just for the part I've squiggled in, that's 1/2 times pi times 8. So we get 0.5 times 3.14 times 8. We get 12.56. But don't stop there. It's tempting even for me to be like, oh, I got it now. It's a semicircle. I found the perimeter of the semicircle. Well, we did find the perimeter of the semicircle, but that's not all that creates this shape. You've got to remember, not only is what I've drawn on part of the outside of the shape, this is also part of the outside of the shape. Now, the good news is we already know exactly what that measures. It's 8 inches. So I just get the semicircle, which is 12.56, then I add the 8, so I get a total of 20.56 inches. Okay, last one. We want to make sure we get just the outer edges and not anything inside. So this really has 3 sides. It has 2 straight sides, the 4 meters and the 9 meters. And it has a curved side, which is a semicircle. So I'll go and write 4 plus 9. Just need to add those together. Then as the semicircle, so I'll do half of pi times the diameter, which is 6. So 4 plus 9 is 13. Half of 6 is 3. So we need to find 13 plus 3 times pi. So let's do 3 times pi first, and add 13. And we get 22.42 meters.